You ever watch someone lose their mind over a parked truck? Like actually lose it pacing, snapping photos, threatening to call the cops, all because a tire brushed some grass. Yeah. That happened. And not to just anyone. To my nephew, on the first day of his summer visit. What was supposed to be a peaceful week at my lakeside cabin turned into a full-blown neighborhood war thanks to one woman who thought being HOA president made her queen of the universe. I'm Rick Talbot. 61, retired attorney. Bought this cabin in North Maple Ridge to get away from the courtroom grind, fishing, coffee at sunrise, quiet afternoons with a paperback. Nothing fancy, just peace. And for a while, it worked. Until Diane Lancaster made me regret ever thinking peace was something you could buy. She's the HOA president going on 4 years and treats this little lakeside neighborhood like her private kingdom. Diane's the kind of person who irons her socks and files complaint letters like it's a sport. The locals call her the Duchess. Not to her face, of course. Now, my nephew Evan is 21, good kid, had just driven 4 hours to come stay for the summer. Final exams were brutal, his girlfriend dumped him, and he needed a break. So when he pulled up in that rusty old Ford Ranger and packed a little crooked half a tire on the grass, that's it, I didn't think anything of it. But apparently, Diane did. Not 5 minutes later, she marches out of her house across the street like she's responding to a hostage situation, iPad in one hand, a frown that could curdle milk. She starts circling Evan's truck like it's radioactive, mumbling, unregistered vehicle and violation of community protocol. She's snapping photos from every angle like the grass was sacred ground. Then comes the cherry on top. She turns to Evan and says, loud enough for the neighbors to hear, "This vehicle must be removed immediately or I'm calling the police." And she actually did. 2 officers show up 20 minutes later, clearly wishing they were anywhere else. Evan standing there holding a cooler full of cookies, looking like a puppy that just got kicked. I offered the cops some iced tea, asked them point blank, "Do you really think this is an emergency?" One of them couldn't have been older than 25, just sighed and said, "We respond to all calls, sir." They took some notes, gave Diane a polite nod, and left. Now, I thought that was the end of it. You know, a weird story to laugh about later. No. The next morning, taped to my door like a scarlet letter, was a violation notice, $400 fine, 3 pages of bureaucratic nonsense, and a line that actually read, "Creating a precedent of community disrespect." I mean, who writes that? That's when I realized this wasn't about a truck. It wasn't even about Evan. This was Diane trying to flex her power, and she picked the wrong guy. I dusted off my old law books, poured myself some coffee, and went to work. Started combing through the HOA bylaws, and I'll tell you right now, the way she handled Evan's so-called violation. It broke half a dozen of them. No warning, no hearing, no board vote. Just one woman playing dictator. Evan felt terrible, kept saying maybe he should just go back home. That broke my heart. The kid did nothing wrong, and yet here he was, thinking he ruined my peace and made the neighbors hate us. And honestly, for a second, I thought about letting it go. I mean, I moved here to avoid conflict, not stir it up. But then I looked at Evan and thought, if I back down now, what am I teaching him? That bullies win if they're loud enough. But the real turning point came from someone unexpected. Margaret Jensen, 78, keeps to herself, tends her roses, never involved in any of Diane's drama. She knocked on my door one evening, nervous, and handed me a folder. Inside, a newspaper clipping, 3 years old, HOA president resigns amid missing funds. Diane. Same woman. Same job. Different town. Turns out, Diane left her last neighborhood under a cloud of suspicion. Landscaping contracts that never got completed. Payments to companies no one could trace. She claimed it was her family stressed and disappeared before an audit could wrap up. Now I had context. This wasn't just about control, it was about cover. She was overcompensating here, trying to seem squeaky clean, but her paranoia made her reckless. So I did what I used to do best: I built a case. I filed requests for financial records, which I'm legally allowed to do as a homeowner. Diane tried everything to stall me. Fake forms, bogus processing fees, pending legal reviews. But every time she delayed, she left a breadcrumb and I was following them. Meanwhile, Evan was the real MVP. One day at the community center, he noticed Diane had left her iPad behind. He didn't snoop, just saw the screen light up and snapped a quick photo of the file name, Landscape Budget V2. When he showed me the image later, I nearly laughed. No contractor names. No dates. No photos. Just $signs. The smoking gun was getting warmer. Then came the big meeting. Diane called it herself. Said it was to address ongoing challenges to community integrity. She had a slideshow ready, complete with zoomed-in images of Evan's tire on the grass. I kid you not, she made it sound like he'd backed a tank onto a protected wetland. When she finished, I stood up. Calm, steady, 30 years of courtroom training kicked in. I introduced myself properly, explained my background, and then I dropped it. I helped draft the model regulations this HOA was based on. My name's literally on the original framework used by over 200 associations in the state. And then I laid it all out: the illegal fines, the lack of due process, the fake contracts, and finally, the money trail. I showed cancelled checks made out to Greenview Landscaping, a company owned by Diane's cousin. I showed images of the area supposedly improved, which looked exactly the same as they had 5 years ago. The room erupted. People shouting, demanding to know where their fees had gone. Diane tried to push back, her voice cracking, saying, "You don't understand the complexities of community management." But it was too late. Someone called for a vote. The motion passed, unanimous removal. Diane tried to storm out, but folks blocked the exit. For once, the Duchess was out of power, and the peasants weren't bowing anymore. In the days after, it got worse for her. Local paper picked up the story. Police got involved. Turns out, she'd pulled the same stunts in Oak Brook, just never got caught. She had to sell her house, pay restitution, and move out under a cloud of shame. And me? I went back to fishing. Back to peace. But something had shifted. Neighbors who never spoke to me before started waving, talking. Evan stuck around longer. Margaret got elected as interim president. And for once, people weren't afraid to speak up. But here's the thing that still sticks with me. One night, sitting on the dock, Evan asked, "Do you ever feel bad?" I mean, she lost everything. I thought about that a long time. And finally said, "Evan, she didn't lose everything because of what I did. She lost everything because of what she kept doing and finally got caught. So now I want to ask you, where's the line between standing up and going too far? Was I right to push back? Should communities have more power or more protection? Let me know what you think, because in neighborhoods like this, the real battle isn't over grass or parking, it's over who gets to define what community really means.